My name is Michael Hearst, and I'm a musician and composer and also a writer. I have what I guess the realtors refer to as a 1.5 bedroom apartment, and I use that half bedroom as my studio. The room I work in is about 6 feet by 8 feet and has way too many musical instruments in it, and then artwork on the walls, and it's computer based, as most studios are in this century or millennium. The Unusual Creatures album was sort of a no-brainer for me because I am obsessed with animals, so always have been. And as it happens, I love unusual musical instruments, and I thought this would be a fun pairing to do an album inspired by these weird animals and using weird instruments. The Kronos Quartet came to me and asked if they could be on the album, which of course, I'm not going to turn on the Kronos Quartet. And David Harrington said, I have always been fascinated by the Weddell seal, which lives in Antarctica and makes these amazing sounds. I don't know how to describe them other than they sound like laser beam guns from Star Wars or something. They're just incredible. And so we worked on this piece that was, a combination of actual recording samples with the sounds of the Kronos Quartet. So there's basically the quartet playing with the seals. In the case of the I, which is another one that I did with Kronos Quartet, it doesn't really make any sounds. It's a nocturnal lemur from Madagascar. And I guess the sounds that it does make are not vocalizations. It taps on trees to find food. It has these extended fingers, actually kind of crazy looking middle finger that it taps on trees with. And when it hears a hollow sound, it knows that that's probably a good spot to gnaw on the bark and find what might be underneath it. And then it uses that same finger to pull out the grub, which live inside the tree. So for that particular piece, we start off with the quartet actually tapping on their instruments and emulating the sounds of the I in the forest. And then the song comes in, and it's something that I wrote that to me sounds like the music for what I can imagine Eyes in the middle of the night looking around and swinging from tree to tree. And they really are fascinating creatures. While working on the book, I went down to the Duke Lemur Center to film and talk to a specialist, and it was so amazing to actually see these things in person. It's one thing to see them in books and read about them, or even just see videos on the internet, but to be in a room one-on-one with something like an eye was just incredible. And then as far as drawing, even sitting down and drawing these animals for my own amusement, it would help inspire music in my head and how I'd want to create a song that would work with this. And I think that's part of what draws me to the whole unusual animal world and animals in general. Is just that there are so many creatures on the planet. There are literally millions and millions of species. But, beyond that, humans are so dominating on the planet, and that there are millions of these other creatures out there that aren't doing what we're doing, and just want to exist. And, at times it's very inspiring just to want to exist. It's so easy to get caught up in everything that needs to be done to be a human. I don't think there should be any qualifications for what makes art and what doesn't. Anything and everything can be art, and that's been proven over and over again, and I'm sure it will constantly need to be proven. And certainly there's, based on that, animals are hugely important and inspiring to humans as artists. Animals have been the inspiration for art for as long as art has existed, to, paintings in caves. It's always been part of it.